to 25% of the economy.
The financial community.
The financial
industry.
The financial
Yeah.
sector, yeah. But the point is, our government is designed fundamentally to be dumb, but to listen. In other words, no one is elected to the government because of their personal expertise in the various issues that they're going to have to deal with. We have a system that is designed to listen.
But if money gets you
But
greater access.
unfortunately, the talk of what you're listening to gets distorted by the money issue. In other words, they're not randomly listening to the population at large. They're listening to people who have a strong voice because they're strong contributors and so forth and so on.
Well, I think you've taken us to a very fundamental issue that's roiling the country at the moment. And this is democracy is no longer a level playing field, or even approximately a level playing field. The big institutions have so much money that they can flood into the system. There's one study I saw just the other day that reports the number of people lobbying today on behalf of the financial industry to try to weaken Dodd-Frank, the bill passed after the disaster, outnumbers consumer, union, and other groups by a ratio of 25 to 1. The financial industry is outspending everybody else 25 to 1 to try to weaken Dodd-Frank.
I'm quite surprised that the political establishment would listen to groups that have been so discredited.
I'm saying despite what happened in 2008, Wall Street still has too much power.
They have too much voice. They're being listened to. And, I find it incredible. I would have guessed that society at large would have said, hey, we made a mistake. Let's get some rules. I used to tell my kids, why do you think a car has brakes? And they all would say, to stop. And I'd say, no. A car has brakes so that you could drive fast. If you got into a car that had no brakes and you knew it, how fast do you think you would drive? You wouldn't drive very fast at all. And that's the same reason we have rules. You want the private sector to be free, to be creative and exuberant and whatever within a framework.
You testified in front of the Senate Banking Committee. You came out in support of what we call the Volcker Rule. For the layman, what is the Volcker Rule and why do you support it?
The rule simply says if you have a customer who wants to issue a bond, you could help him, but you can't trade in the bond market for your own account. And so what the rule does is it basically puts the banks back into the customer business and allows the Wall Street community to be in the pure trading and the business of speculation and hedge funds and so forth. And it separates those.
Sounds to me like you're calling the Glass-Steagall Act back from the grave.
I think I am.
Because?
I just think it's better that we have that barrier than not. It makes sure that the FDIC guarantee doesn't provide a funding base for proprietary trading activities. Because remember, the government guarantees your savings account and mine in the local bank. And correctly, we don't want the government's guarantee for those accounts to act as a funding base for somebody who's speculating in the market. And so it's that kind of separation. It's a prudent barrier, and I'm astounded that anybody would be against it. And mind you, I'm a private sector guy. I'm not suggesting over government intervention, but you need rules. I would never let you or a friend or my kids drive a car without brakes.
But when the financial community can buy the rules they want,
then you've got an unstable situation. That's an intolerable situation. I mean, obviously.
So do you have any sympathy for Occupy Wall Street, the movement that has, in a very inchoate but nonetheless persistent way, been out across the country trying to get us to pay attention?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I mean, I think it's symptomatic of the disconnect that exists in our discourse now, where you have a set of folks who seem not to understand fully what went on and the implications of it, and a political establishment that doesn't seem to respond very well. They know a lot about the concerns, but they seem not to be able to do anything about them. And the folks in the financial system are not listening. They're not saying, you know what, there's some correctness in these views. And so I think these people are giving voice to a frustration, and I am quite understanding of it. I hope the political establishment has some ears. I understand the political divisions, but they've got to start understanding that at some point you got to come together.
John, thank you very much.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.